All right. Well, good morning, Mark.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, sir?
Excellent.
Nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
40 years. How does that feel? How does that from the word go, like, the band took off at a pretty quick. I mean, from our standpoint it might have been a quick,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's just funny. It's kind of like with my sobriety, I do it one day at a time, but the time kind of takes care of itself. And that's kind of what happened the last 40 years. Where'd all that time go, man? And yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a ride. Really exciting. Always excited for the next thing, the next show or the next album or, you know. So you're constantly anticipating. But I've kind of learned just to enjoy the moment that I'm in
Yeah.
more today. You live and learn. It's like,
Right.
like, look at this. Can you believe it? Isn't this cool? Where we're at right now, like, tonight. And so it's kind of fun to do it that way too.
Yeah, that's got to be a good feeling that you've ridden the wave and you guys are still around, and that's gotta mean something.
Yeah. Um, you know, I I honestly believe it doesn't have a lot to do with us personally, but more to do with the songs. It seems
Right.
like I know so many cases where the songs just like dwarf the band. I mean, people might not even know who did this certain song that they loved so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think it's the songs more than us that have withstood the test of time. It's we're
Right.
not still here because Mark Kendall's the greatest. you know, he just he just happened to write a few good songs that people can relate to and that created a few memories for people and as teenagers or
Yeah.
special moments and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful for sure. I'm a fan myself, so I know what it means to have songs take you to a place in your life, where you knew what you were doing, you knew how old you were, you knew who your friends were,
Yeah.
and certain songs, I can go right back to where I was, and have all these memories, and the song kind of connects it all together.
Yeah.
So to have our stuff be involved in that way is pretty special.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, being one of the songwriters yourself, and like, even I don't know if you can still see me, but your end, the camera's frozen.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Trippy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's
Yeah,
not your fault. It's got to be Skype.
yeah. It's funny because at 15 I was starting to write songs, and I remember going and crying to my mom that everything I write sounds like Black Sabbath. And she goes, "Just keep plugging away. You'll get there." Kind of being encouraging, but uh, yeah, that I you know I kind of like the era I grew up because it was all about human connection. You know, getting better on my instrument.
Right.
You know, everything you did, you had to leave the house to do it.
Yeah.
It's a lot different today.
Oh, for sure.
The way kids are growing up. There's a little less human connection, more internet connection.
Yeah, more
phone
of
connection.
this. Yeah, more of this and less.
More of this, like keyboards at home.
Yeah.
I'm doing interviews. You promote your band on the internet. You no longer need your staple guns and flyers. It's like it's just so much different. But the thing I like, even though it was harder work, the thing I like about my era is that it was work and you get rewarded for your hard work. And I don't know. It creates a lot more memories, I think, from my era. Because what are you going to remember? Oh, when you're a kid or whatever. Well, I played Xbox and I did a lot of texting. It's like, okay, that sounds fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
To where I have more of human connection memories. You know what I mean?
Same here.
Friends and stuff. I don't know. I like that, but whatever.
Well, I assume we're about the same age. I'm 56, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
We're close. We're close.
Yeah, so I know what you're talking about. Like there is that human connection that you don't get doing this sort of thing. I mean, you can still get that human connection, but it's a visual one. It's not a,
Yeah, it's like it's almost like in sports and tennis and just all kinds of sports, how the human element has been kind of sucked out of it, with electronic things. It's like if back in the 80s we had electronic scoring in tennis, there would be no McEnroe. There would be no personality. You know what I mean?
He stood out so much from the others,
Complaining to the judge and stuff and the referees, because you could complain about a bad call. To me, I don't know. That's very human.
Yeah.
And I like that. I don't like a buzzer going off and, okay, well, I guess I can't complain, that it's electronic, I mean, I don't know, man. I just prefer, I'd rather have an ump make a bad call than have everything, no personality whatsoever. Nobody says a word. They go out and play tennis. There's no colorful personalities. No. Everything just, it's like we're turning ourselves into machines in a way. It's to me, it's unfortunate. I don't mind a little bit of that. Makes things easier, but to completely turn everything into technology, I don't know. I don't know how healthy that is. I don't like it. I'm still old school. We still get in a room and jam and come up with songs, and we sound a certain way when we play together. We would never email each other our parts or something,
Right.
I mean, and that's, so in that regard, we do everything like we've always done it, I think we're kind of afraid to try anything new, because if something's working, why change it,
Well, yeah, and you have that chance of it getting lost in that cloud or whatever, right? And then you can't find it.
Well, here's the thing. If we did everything, just did our parts on the internet, and we weren't in the same room together, a lot of things would be missing, because a lot of ideas happen by accident, not preconceived or, by design or anything like that. Just like all of a sudden the drummer will start doing something that out of the blue, and we kind of follow it,
Right.
And they'll go, "That's really cool. Let's do that when we record," But that wouldn't have happened if we weren't in the same room, because you get a lot visually. You feel certain things, so.
Well, you get that vibe.
We could do a record. We could do a record like that. I'm curious to know what it would sound like if we didn't see each other and everybody just does their parts or whatever. That'd be a trip, man.
Well, speaking of music, speaking of recording, your last album came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Any chance we might be hearing some new music from you guys down the road?
I can tell you. I can tell you this. I've been writing like crazy. I'm not technical.
Hmm.
I've recorded a couple things at home. A guy brings over his laptop and he's got, some gear. But I've been going to Tracy G's, this guitar player friend of mine that we've been friends since teenager years. He was in Dio for like 7 years, had a
Okay.
few bands. But anyways, he's got recording stuff at his house. And, we've been friends, like I said, since we were teenagers, like 17 years old, going to see each other play. And, so we have so much history and we're such good friends that I like, for instance, on his last solo album, I played on it for nothing, and he lets me go over there and record ideas for nothing.
Nice.
So even though I throw him something anyways, but so I've been going over there for the past couple of years, just throwing ideas down, and they keep getting better. I lay down the bass, the guitar, the drum machine, and a little scat vocal on one version and no vocal on another, and present stuff to the band. And they pretty much like so far what I'm coming up with. So it's definitely in the cards for near future to do a record. That's why we're still here 40 years later. It's because it's that motivation to keep being creative and keep making new music. We, at least for me, I'm grateful for our catalog of songs, all the hits and everything, but I got to keep being creative. That's what motivates me, and keeps my energy up and keeps me vibrating where I'm supposed to be. I just don't want to become an oldies band that goes out there and plays Once Bitten, Twice Shy every year, and and that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anything to eliminate going through the motions, and that's to be creative. I've compared it to being a painter. If you were out on tour selling the same painting every year, I mean, I would think that would be boring as hell.
Right.
You want to try to come up with the best painting in your life, and that's what I'm trying to do. I have this pipe dream that I'm going to write the greatest song of my life, and even if it doesn't happen, that's okay. But at least it keeps me, goals and things to reach for, and that type of thing.
You haven't hit that pinnacle even back when you had all the hits. You're not going.
Well, many great moments. Yeah, many great moments. Like I said, I'm really grateful for all the songs of the past, and it's just, I always have this thought that we can always get better, and so I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I learned from the past too. Think maybe some of the things that didn't work so good. So take some of that and not do that again, and maybe I can come up with something. I like what I've been coming up with lately. It's hard to not repeat yourself and still have it be tasty. That's the challenge. So I work on that, and I think I got some pretty good stuff. Hopefully people like it.
If people jump from your early days, twice, Once Bitten, Twice Shy, and then they jump up to 2017, there is a whole different sound there. You guys have totally, you can hear the musicianship is like so tight. Like that album is that album is rock solid. Like, and it transpires because you've got, it starts off rocky and you got a blues song in there, you got a ballad, there's a whole bunch of different elements in there that really make the album shine. It's a very strong album.
Thank you. Yeah. One thing we don't do is change the way we write to the modern technology.
Right.
Like I said, we get in a room, we sit around. In that album, we sat around in this kitchen area at my drummers, just asking each other, okay, what do you got? What do you got? You know, and I play an idea, and they go, man, that's cool. Let's work on that. So we go out in the rehearsal room and work on it, and after doing that for like 4 weeks, we had everything but the lyrics.
Oh,
And
really?
so when we went to Nashville, we didn't have the songs finished, and Wagner did not like that. You know, Michael Wagner, the producer.
Yeah.
He's a, 100 million album career, and he's German, and he likes his ducks in a row, Normally he goes out and listens to you for 2 weeks and fixes stuff, oh, don't do that there on the drums, and he's a producer, he's a taskmaster. So when we're coming up there going, yeah, man, we got these cool songs. We don't have lyrics yet, though. He didn't like it. He didn't like that. But here's why it worked. The way he records is unlike other engineers. He does one song at a time. So we do all the basic tracks to where the drums and bass are done.
Yeah.
Scat the vocal, play scratch guitar that I'm going to replay later with a better sound. But we keep the drums and bass. Okay, so the way he likes to do it is the next day, he goes, okay, tomorrow we'll do this song. We decide on what song we're going to do the next day. So we knew in advance what song we were doing the following day, so we could all bunch together at the house we rented and come up with the lyrics for that tune.
No.
So we walked in with our first lyric sheet, and he goes, yay, lyrics! And then after we finished a couple songs, he was less nervous. He goes, oh, I see we can make this work. It'll be fine. But I don't think he's ever done a record in his whole career with Ozzy and Metallica and all these bands. He's never done one where they didn't have lyrics to the songs. When they're paying for studio time, you know what I mean? Oh, we don't have any lyrics.
What do you mean you don't have? Just tease him and say, yeah, we wanted to do an instrumental this time.
Yeah, right. We had some lyrics, like, chorus ideas and stuff like that. We just didn't have all the words.
Yeah. Your new singer, he's quite the powerhouse.
Andrew Freeman?
Yes.
Yeah. It really happened quite by accident. We had Mitch Malloy in the band for a couple of years, and he started to get more involved in other projects like Van Halen tributes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there was a conflicting date, and we had Andrew Freeman sit in, and he just killed it. We didn't even rehearse with him. He just learned the songs at home. We went over him one time in the hotel room the night before, and we played with Foreigner, and he just went out and just sang great. And so we wanted to know if he was available, And he's done about 20 shows. Really good singer.
Yeah, just a natural then. Like, obviously, just a natural.
Yeah, natural performer.
If he can just learn the songs and then belt them out like that, where you guys are like, yeah, this is the guy.
Exactly. You got to have the right voice because our songs are geared for a tenor, a singer with a high range.
Yeah.
We couldn't get like a guy that sings like, or not Elvis, but like Jim Morrison or whatever.
Right.
That you need to have a more of a range like Robert Plant and Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? Just more of a high register. The songs were all done like that. So it's not easy to sing them, I can tell you that. Some of them, unless you got the range.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is because like I said, that album has a variation of different tones, and for a singer to be able to pull those off, that's a pretty.
But you want to hear something?
Yeah.
The way Michael recorded one song at a time made me change guitar sounds every song. Because when you're recording, in the old days, for instance, I'd do 5 rhythm tracks in one day, and I'd be all cocky and, hey, I did 5 songs in one day. It'd be the same sound on every song because I was more concerned about, the race. I did 5 rhythms in one day, but I didn't change my guitar sound. When you do one song at a time, you start to think like, what would be a good sound for this song? I think I'm going to work on it, see what works the best. You have more of a tunnel vision on one song instead of having all these songs in front of you going, God, man, I got to finish this stuff, and it makes for a more diverse sounding record when you change your guitar sound from song to song. It's kind of cool.
Very interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Because, like you said, you've been able to. You've obviously matured as a songwriter and as a guitarist, because you're not trying to compete with yourself now or anybody else. It's just doing what's right with the music.
Yeah, I know my strengths and weaknesses. I've never tried to be, a shredder or whatever, or tried to get at the people that made me want to play are, the Alvin Lees, Johnny Winter, Carlos Santana type dudes. You know what I mean? Right. So I'm not going to try to be the GIT, next Eddie Van Halen or something. For one thing, I'd have no chance playing that way because they're too damn good. And the other thing is, I'm just I come from a different school. Like I'm really into melodic, squeezing notes because I felt that way at that moment, or having the mindset of what can I do on this song to make it a great song, instead of how many notes can I get away with, so that's really, because when I was a little kid, I didn't even listen to guitar when I heard records. I just sang along with the singer.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was 14 and I heard Carlos Santana, I'm going, he has all these beautiful melodies, the way he plays solos and stuff, almost like a great singer. So you can do that on guitar too. That's so cool. The stuff was so memorable and cool, but he also kind of ripped and did other things, other dynamic moves. He might squeeze a note. He might do something real fast, but he always go back to that theme, that cool, and that's why I love Carlos Santana so much. And at one point, like 14 years old, I wanted to be the guy, even though I was too white. I was too white to get there, Mark Santana, No, but I just love the man. And sure enough, he's the most down-to-earth, soulful, spiritual guy, and just feels the music. And so those are more of the influences, type of guitar players that I gravitated toward.
Great. Have you had a chance to meet him? Met him in person?
Didn't meet him, but I got a chance. They used to have something on the biggest station here in Los Angeles. We used to do this thing called Rockline and go on and play live.
Yeah, I remember.
Play live and talk and stuff. Well, Carlos Santana was coming in the following week, and I got to ask him a question, and then I got to hear it back on his show. I got to hear my question and then hear his answer, and that was kind of cool. I didn't even ask him about guitar, but I did say how great I thought he was and what a big influence he was on me. And but I asked what happened to that drummer, Michael Shreve, because one of my favorite performances was from Woodstock.
Yes.
The old Woodstock from all those years ago, when they played Soul Sacrifice, and that young drummer just doing that incredible drum solo, and everybody in this band were like black, and they were just badass on their instruments. The bass player, they were all gathered around this little white drummer, and he was just pouring his heart out and just playing the most insane solo I've ever seen in my life. And it was just like the band was cheering him on, and he just, sweating bullets. You could tell he was putting every ounce of his being into that drum solo. And so, but then when I seen some videos on YouTube and stuff of Carlos Santana, they always had different drummers, and I just always wonder what happened to that guy. And he said on the Rockline that he's doing great. He's kind of a jazz drummer, so he does a lot of jazz records. He plays on a lot of people's albums and more of a session guy.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing wonderfully. He lives up north, and so I got my answer.
So he's kind of like a younger, he's kind of like a Jim Keltner, because Jim Keltner sits in with a lot of people.
Yeah, more of a session, very upper echelon school drummer.
Yes.
They probably reads charts and just can go into anything and just handle it right away. So that's one thing I tell up and comers: learn how to read music, and learn the right way music theory, because the stars might not line up for you, and you might not be in the next Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
But you can still do what you love to do in some other format. Whether you play on other people's records, sessions, play from this band to that band to that band. There's a lot that can happen. You can still do what you love.
Yeah.
But if you're just playing by ear, I don't know. I just think your opportunities will be more plentiful if you really get good on your instrument to where you can play in all kinds of blues, jazz, fusion, whatever, you know what I mean, funk.
Yeah.
And in case, like I said, if the stars don't line up perfect and you're not the next greatest band ever, that don't have to happen to everybody.
No.
So I think it's smart, to get good the right way, especially if you're young, and learn music theory, learn your way around your guitar neck or whatever your instrument is.
The longevity that you've seen, how do you see the music industry now? Like, how have you seen it change from somebody who's been in the industry for so long? How do you, has it changed for the good? Has it changed for
I don't know. Well, the whole world's changed, but I don't know that it's better.
Right.
With the technology, just like everything we mentioned with sports and all walks of life, everything's a lot easier. But what it's done is it's taken away all the record stores. It's taken away all the major labels, pretty much. They all have to merge together just to survive.
Yeah.
We no longer need $1 million advance to do a record and a tour. So it's killed the industry the way we knew it. All the mediums, no longer play new music. It's just all classic rock,
Yeah.
Which I'm grateful for that. I mean, at least they're playing our music, but you're never going to hear new music. And there's a lot of viable bands. I know that Night Ranger still writes amazing songs. And you really have to kind of maybe hear them on satellite radio or something like that to even hear anything new.
Yeah.
And I don't think that kids are as attached to the band members as they used to be.
Oh.
I knew every band that I listened to. I knew the bass player's name, the drummer, the guitar player, the singer.
Yeah.
I'd read the liner notes.
I know.
Now it's pretty much just download the songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe 3 from your band, 3 from his band, 2 from that guy, and so it's not, again, that connection with Jimmy Page and the connection, knowing, I don't know, there's just something great about that. That's what's missing to me is, you can't even have heroes anymore. I mean, Jimmy Page is the greatest thing ever. That's gone. Because of today, it's just a different world. There's elements of it that are nice, but I don't know, man. It reminds me of an old Twilight Zone that I saw one time, and it was this company, and computers everywhere, offices, everybody's working. It's just crazy. In fact, no, they came with the computer, and the computer put everybody out of work except one guy. And he's sitting around, and he's got all these, reels going and lights flashing, and he's in this room with all these computers doing all the work for everybody. And after a couple of days, he's going, man, there's nobody to go, eat lunch with, and there's like I don't have to pay out all this employees or whatever, but it's like it's so desolate here. There's nobody to talk to, and that's kind of the way they've made the world somewhat. I took a tour of the LA Times. My friend has worked there for 35 years, and I toured there. The guy took me on a tour. They had the first printer that they used back in the 60s or whatever.
Oh, wow.
One of these little one page at a time, and it was just a neat little tour. But we went around to these offices, and this is during work hours. And there must have been like 500 computer, laptop, laptop kind of computers at all these desks. And I'm going, what, are they out for lunch or something? They go, oh, no, this room's totally empty. Nobody works in here anymore. I'm going, really? This is like a million computers. We haven't cleaned it out yet, So it takes away people's jobs, because of the technology.
Well, you go to supermarkets or Walmarts, and there's more people at the self checkout than there is at the till with an actual cashier.
Oh, and again, the human element sucked out of it. You can't sit in a line and complain about it. God, look at how long this line is.
Right.
Even though it's not the greatest thing, but it gives you something to talk about. Yeah, the guy behind me, like, yeah, I know what you mean now. This is BS,
But you get that interaction.
And then you go home. Well, how'd it go? Was there a lot of people there? Oh, yeah, man, I was in the longest line known to man. You got a story. You know what I mean? It's like, how'd it go at the store? Oh, I did self-checkout. Everything went perfect. Oh, man. I want to hear that story about you get in a fight in line with this guy, and he was complaining, and then, you stepped on his toe by accident. No, you don't get none of that anymore.
I had a guy behind me at Walmart last year sometime, and you could you know, I could see that he was kind of downtrodden, and he had one item. He just had some deodorant. So my stuff was bringing through, and then his stuff kind of got tucked in with mine. He says, "Oh, I'm really sorry," and I go, "No, it's okay, bud. Let it come through. I'll pay for it." He started to cry. He said, "Nobody's ever done that for him." So again, there's that human element of being in line.
Yeah.
And
I've done that.
Converse with people, you know.
I did something similar. I was at a 7-Eleven, and I had to be in L.A., and I went to 7-Eleven. I just wanted something with bubbles in it, so I got a Dr. Pepper.
Right.
And this chick was counting out all this change, and just like, you know, she had all this candy and stuff, you know, and she was taking forever, and I really wanted to get out of there. So I go, I got this. I got this. It was like $8, you know.
Right.
And she just wigged out and chased after my car, and I just waved and drove off. You know, it was like, it meant everything to her.
Yeah.
But it was no big deal for me. You know what I mean? But I know what you mean. It feels good to give like that.
It does.
It does. It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, because for $5, I mean, he was crying, and you know, he's like, thank you, and I'm like,
something.
Yeah, I'm
because man, there's still good people in the world. I didn't know that.
That's exactly what he said. He said, nobody's ever done this for me before. I said, well, there's a first time for everything, right?
Exactly. Right on. Good for you.
Well, is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
Yeah, just thanks to all the fans. You know, like we're talking about the longevity. You know, it has a lot to do with the fans. I mean, you know, everywhere we go and play, there's a lot of people in front of the stage, and we've seen a lot of new generations. You know, I guess mom and dad, maybe they're bringing their 20-somethings to the show, you know, and I think they might be saying, "You guys aren't as bad as I thought," you know. You know, at least this stuff rocks, you know.
Right.
I tell the journalists before, it's like with our parents, you know, because we're a product of the '60s or whatever.
Yeah.
They listen to stuff from back in their era, and we really couldn't totally relate to it because it wasn't rock and roll related. Like there was no elements that, you know, like we would never be caught dead at one of their shows. You know what I mean?
Right.
To where now, like say a 25-year-old has parents that used to listen to, you know, White Snake, Great White, Scorpions, and they're going, "Whoa, you guys are, you know, pretty hip. You know, you're not as corny as I thought. I mean, you know, at least your stuff rocks." And man, this guitar player is killing me. He's so good, you know. So I think that's pretty cool that people discover our music that weren't there in our heyday. You know,
right.
That's pretty neat. I saw some kids. This is a few years ago, but back when I smoked cigarettes, I don't smoke anymore. But I went out in front of this hotel in Sweden, and there was about 20 kids, and they looked like they were all, you know, early 20s, you know, out there smoking cigarettes and hanging. But they were all dressed how we dressed like in 1985. And I'm thinking, I go, what's going on here? It was like they discovered our music, you know, and they liked the way people dressed back then. It was almost like a cult, like they discovered something, you know, and I was kind of blown away by that because I think it's kind of neat that when someone looks back 3 generations and digs it and goes, "Man, this stuff was badass. I listened to this song. I mean, this is like a really good song," you know. I think that is awesome. When we can reach more generations than just our own, that to me is amazing, you know. And they even go back further. I'm sure they listen to Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, and they go, "Holy crap, man, these tunes are amazing," you know. So that's fun. But I just appreciate our fans who we grew up with, basically, that they're so loyal and still there for us. You know, we're going to keep on trying to deliver for you. So thank you for that.
Well, and with this new music in the possible future, any chance you might be touring the album as well?
Absolutely.
And will you come up
we
to
always
Canada?
Do.
Will you come up to Canada?
We always do. Yeah, we always do. We always tour. Love to come to Canada. Great fans there. In fact, right behind me, I don't know if you can see, but the albums below, the smaller ones, those are all platinum albums from Canada.
Oh wow!
And you know, we don't have to sell 1 million there, but obviously the population's different.
Yes.
You know, it's so 100,000 is platinum, but you know, they were in storage for like 20 years. You know, just like cobwebs and spiders. But we moved, and I just go, I'm gonna, you know, since I have a music room where I do a lot of my work and interviews, and I jam with my, I don't know if you can see, I jam with my grandson.
Oh,
That's
nice.
his drum set. So I thought it would be fun to hang him on the wall. You know, it's like breaking out your old bowling trophies. I don't want to put them in the living room to where people come over and they go, "Oh God, what a big ego." You know, I'd rather hide him in my office. You know, but yeah, it's fun. You know, to look at all the old stuff. And
do you really think people would say what a big ego when
maybe not? Maybe
you've earned those records though. That's your work. You know that's your work that you're being rewarded for, and people are going, hey, you know what? This is great stuff because they're out there, they're buying your albums. So
yeah, that's true. It just the rest of our home, it's more like family stuff. I have a few things on the wall like Grammy nominations, and you go down the hallway and there's a few trophies on the wall, but I just don't like people to come over and it's like me. Even though, like you said, they wouldn't think I have a big ego because I have, you know, a couple of things on the wall, but it just seems more appropriate to have it in my music room. Anyways,
that's a very humble approach to it. I think.
Yeah. Thank you. I do compare it. I'll compare it to bowling. Say I'm a pro bowler and I'm like the best bowler on earth. I bowled like 1,000,000 to 300 games and been a champion for 20 years. And you come to my house, and in my living room, I have 800 bowling trophies on the shelves. Yeah, this was back in Seattle in '82. Yeah, I won that one. That's kind of what I mean about, you know.
Yeah.
But I know that people, like you said, they probably wouldn't go, "Oh, Kendall, he's got this huge ego." They probably go, "Man, this is pretty cool." You know. Yeah. So I know what you're saying as well.
Yeah, because it's like, you know, that's your heart and soul right there in those records, and your fans are saying, "Hey, we like what you guys do," because they're out there buying the music. So
part of my favorite thing about the getting of, you know, platinum records and stuff like that is to share it with my parents and friends. You know, going trip on this. I'm that little punk ass that you told to turn it down and tone it down. It's too damn loud out there, and you know, neighbors complaining, cops coming over. You know, I'm that guy. Look at this, Mom. Isn't this cool? You know? I'm being rewarded for not toning it down.
I'm being rewarded for actually turning it up.
It was funny because my mom would say, "Can you tone it down?" Tone, Tone. You mean roll off a little treble? Just take the treble down a little bit? You don't want me to turn the volume down, do you? Just take a little treble off, take a little edge off it. It was funny that she would phrase it that way, tone it down. But that's part of the human thing that we were talking about. It's like we were crappy. We started out, we were so horrid, playing in the garage that we drove our parents mad, but we got better because we kept doing it. We kept playing together. We got together and we played, and we got better. And we went and actually got good enough to where we thought we were okay, enough to play in front of people, like, and just hopefully they like it, But there has to be something to say about that, that we got a little better because we kept practicing and got better on our instruments and, so I don't know. It creates a lot of memories. I actually enjoy the fact that my mom said tone it down and all that. It's a memory, even though I didn't like it at the time. It's a memory that you can look back and smile about. It's cool to have all those memories.
Yes, for sure.
That's one thing about when people suffer loss, and it's horrific, and you're going to miss that person, but they can't take your memories away.
No, exactly. Exactly.
That's strong because you're going to have a lot of them, and it gives you something to think about. Remember the time this happened. Remember the time that happened. They can't take that from us, and that I'm really happy they can't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this has been quite the pleasure, sir. I thank you for your time.
Thanks, Anthony. Appreciate it, man.
I will send this off to Melissa once I get it up, and
okay, sounds good.
I'm sure she'll forward it to you.
Yeah, she'll post it on all the socials and give me a copy, and we'll trip on it. Hopefully, I didn't freeze too much.
Twice, just twice.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
But it wasn't you. It was Skype.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think as long as you got enough good footage, that's good.
Yeah. Well,
okay,
I think
have a great day.
You as well. Thank you for your time.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.